Welcome to Bounce Back Stronger, the podcast that explores ways to find peace and purpose no matter what happens. Today, we are exploring the subject of minimalism with our repeat guests, Cindy Ross and Todd Gladfelter, who have inspired countless souls to find strength and connection by living simply in nature. A little about Cindy and Todd. Cindy is a well known writer and veteran advocate, as well as a hiker, cyclist, and adventurer. In 2021, after years of traveling the trails together, her husband Todd suffered a tragic accident, leaving him with a severe spinal cord injury that turned their lives upside down. Despite this life altering event, Cindy and Todd have shown extraordinary resilience, dedicating themselves to his recovery with the same determination that carried them through thousands of miles of wilderness, which they have returned to as Todd has completed the first leg of his 2,000-mile road to recovery by completing the Great American Trail. Cindy and Todd, thank you so much for being on the podcast again. It's an honor to speak with you.
Hi,
Hi.
nice to be here.
It's so good to see you. And I follow you on Facebook, which I highly recommend everybody do. And also, you're CindyRossTraveler.com, is that right?
Yeah, I have a blog that I write to pretty frequently now.
Yeah, it's really, really good. So I highly recommend people follow because it's very inspiring. And you're also really vulnerable and raw at times too, which I think people appreciate seeing because it's not always rosy.
No, I have some friends that asked if I would only write about when it's going great, and I go, no.
No.
You have
Yeah.
you have the whole shooting match here. Because
Yeah.
it's for me to try to understand as I write and help others at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. There's an energy that we get when we're going through difficult times that we have to translate into something. Creativity is so helpful, and writing is certainly one of my favorites too. I think it's really helpful. And then you
Mm.
can share it with people, and people can actually respond, and that can be so gratifying.
And then they don't feel so alone. They might not have fallen off a ladder and broken their neck, but so many people have reached out and said, yeah, I had something really small, but it made me think of you, and I didn't complain, and I had hope. And it doesn't matter how small of something happens in their lives, they think about what we're going through, and then they get more resilient.
Yeah, the not alone thing. That's a good point too. It really is. I think we feel a lot alone, maybe after the pandemic, and then maybe with other things that have happened. And it's great that you connect like that.
I guess I should read it sometime. It might help me.
Usually best that he doesn't. I think I'm going to write my whole book about his recovery and just send it to the publisher and not have him even proofread it, because he's not going to be allowed to say no to anything. That's part of the payback from being his caregiver. I get to say whatever I want.
Memoir is tough that way, I'll say. So tell me a little bit about this last trail you just did. So there you did 400 and is it 65 miles? Was it
35 miles.
435 miles?
So
Wow.
it's part of what they call the Great American Rail Trail. So it's connecting rail and canal trails across the country, mostly sections of other existing trails, and they're trying to piece them all together. So out of 3,700 miles, there's 2,000 that are built. So we did Maryland, DC, all Pennsylvania, West Virginia, and half of Ohio. So,
Wow.
and from here on out, and that was pretty much consecutive. There weren't too many breaks, but there's a lot of breaks as we travel further west. So we're only going to do the big sections. We're not going to do like the 2 mile stretches, but something that we can 25, 30 miles that we can do in a day, because we do about 30, 35, 40 miles a day. And then we're staying off the roads. So if someone wants to do this continuously, they would ride the roads, but we don't want to ride roads. There's too many
No.
people in our rehab that were in bicycle wrecks and are paralyzed. One of the things that we're trying to advocate is the need for accessible and safe trails for the disabled or anybody. And so we want to stay on the rail trails and not do the roads with vehicular traffic. So
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
so dangerous.
it's hard for me even on a rail trail when I get to a road crossing. I'm usually ahead of everyone, so I get to a road crossing and I can't turn my head hard enough to look
Mm.
down the road. So I'm like listening. And half the time I just sit and wait until someone catches up to me because I can't see if traffic's coming.
Right.
Because of his
Yeah, I can't.
rods in his neck and his,
Yeah, I can't turn my head hard enough to look down the road. I'm low on my recumbent bike. I don't have that high advantage point and
Oh,
maneuverability.
how many crossings of roads are there? There's probably a lot, right?
A lot of road crossings, yeah.
if we
Mm.
come into a town or even a city, it'll go into Pittsburgh, it'll go into Washington, D.C., Cincinnati, Columbus, all those big cities. You have to cross major roads when you come into towns like that. But even coming into a small town, you could have multiple crossings where you're supposed to dismount and walk, but he can't. We usually have someone in our team go out and act like a traffic cop and just make him stop.
Yeah. When's your next leg gonna be?
We'll leave in early September and do the rest of Ohio, Indiana, and maybe Illinois. Our friends that are part of the team, everyone has other commitments or farms or animals or other
Yeah,
jobs. And they say only a couple weeks, but by the time you drive out to the Midwest, and if you have some bad days of rain, it's like, wow, all this work and we're not covering that many miles. So we'll see. Probably the whole month of September into early October, I would like to do.
that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, you kind of alluded to different friends of yours having different like farms and things to take care of. Let's talk a little bit about the main topic, I guess, today, which is the minimalism that you all have really adopted. And tell me a little bit about how you got there. It's not been just a recent thing. This has been all your life.
You could tell, starting with the Appalachian Trail, honey.
Yeah, well, both of us were long distance hikers, having hiked the Appalachian Trail. And then we started hiking the Pacific Crest Trail before we met. So after we met and got together, hiking was still a big part of our lives. So it wasn't uncommon for us to hike 3 or 4 months out of the year.
Oh,
So the rest of the year, we worked a job of some sort and saved our money and didn't spend money because we knew we were going to be away all summer. So it kind of started out of hiking. And when you're hiking for 4 months, all you have on your back is your backpack and you're living out of it and you're quite happy with just what you have in a backpack. So we figured if we had a small house or we didn't need a million things in the house to keep us happy.
yeah.
We used to read Helen and Scott Nearing. They kind of started the voluntary simplicity movement back in the 70s. And a lot of her books, she said, for really to have independence and freedom in your life, you need to be able to live on one person's salary, one person's income. And we always thought that made the most sense that he would work part-time, I would work part-time, and then we would both have a lot of extra time to pursue our other interests, which could be making money, other creative ways, or just gardening. And that was the other thing, was that we figured we could either figure out a way to make more money or figure out a way to need less. And we always looked at organic farming and putting up our food as part of our income. And
Well, part of our income and also part of our health insurance, because there's
right.
nothing better than to eat good food if you want to maintain your health.
That's right. Because the healthcare can be a big cost.
Right.
So that was all part of our lifestyle. And we never went into debt building our log home. We didn't ever want to go in debt. So we had to adopt a certain lifestyle so that we didn't create a lot of bills. So we learned how to do all the jobs ourselves, building the house, from wiring to putting up a recycled slate roof to the log work. And we spent $20,000 to build our house. And that included the well and the septic. So we never went into debt. So we never had to have a life where we had to work constantly to pay for our debt. We had more freedom to be able to hike or a long distance cycle or do what we wanted to do. Like Ty wanted to pursue his work as an artist or me as a writer. We had that flexibility.
And you raised kids in this.
Yeah. We homeschooled and we world schooled. They went to public school for about 6 or 7 years, but then they taught themselves the last 7. But
Wow.
we traveled around the world their whole life doing adventures, which is part of their
Yeah.
education. They both went from teaching themselves and me being their facilitator to going into Temple University honors program. And Sarah had won so many private scholarships that when she graduated, they had to pay her $24,000 because she had too much money that she didn't even use. So that doesn't happen to anybody. So
No, that doesn't at all
that's when I
happen.
decided to write my one book, The World is Our Classroom, How One Family Used Nature and Travel to Shape an Extraordinary Education, because I think that was the turning point where I thought, I might have something of value to share because, Todd and I aren't rocket scientists, but we figured out a way to raise our kids by broadening them and opening them up to the whole world and different people and having their own projects, their own business when they were really young, different things like that help them excel when they went from the homeschooling environment into college.
A- And where do you think the rest of us get it wrong? Just curious. I'll just be honest. Like what is,
First of all, throw away your TV.
Well, that's the
yeah.
thing is,
We never had one
we
ever.
never had a TV. What we found for fun was doing things on our property and learning how to do them. I mean, everyone thinks you need a specialist to do anything around the house. As soon as something happens with your plumbing, and it's like, we figured it all out when you only had a book that you could read, not a YouTube video. Now that there's YouTube videos, it's so easy to fix everything.
Yeah.
So,
And to learn everything.
and it's really nice up to the point of where I hurt myself. We've never had a single person in our house to fix anything. So when something would break, I'd just fix it. And it's now that we need to get help in occasionally, it's frustrating because I know what the problem is. I know how to fix it. And even when an expert comes in, a lot of times I have to tell them how to do it.
Like
Oh,
fixing a
wow.
slate roof kind of
Yeah,
thing.
and things like that. We always found it exciting and I always liked doing all the jobs
Yeah.
and we burn with wood heat. Not many people have that option, but we have our own wood.
Yeah.
So we cut dead trees and split them and it was simple. It's a simple form of heat, but there's a lot of work involved and it's not an easy thing to do for most people, but
We found it fun
yeah.
and
Yeah.
certainly rewarding.
And probably the hiking helped, right? Because you've built a normal routine of doing these types of things where you had to make do for yourself and couldn't carry a ton of things and things don't really have a lot of interest for you, it feels like. Is that right?
And the more things that you have, the more things you have to deal with.
Well, my daughter was like 16 when she decided she thought it was ridiculous to buy new clothing. And she said, I don't want to ever buy new clothing again, either hand-me-downs or the secondhand store. And it's like, okay, that's fine. And it's true. Same with me. I never buy clothing like that. So it's just a mindset that once you start, we do a lot of bartering too, and we always did that too. People help us, we help them. People want to get rid of this and someone else wants it. There's a lot of that
Hmm.
used to happen, take place a lot years ago.
Yeah. I think there's Facebook groups on that too, I think now,
By
where
not,
you can,
yeah.
the no buy Facebook groups. Yeah, I think we're going to see more of that. I think we're
Well,
already
yeah,
seeing more of that.
absolutely.
Yeah.
As things get harder.
I won't go off on my soapbox, but you made a good point about not being in debt. People go into a lot of debt to have the lives that they have.
Or think they
I
deserve. We hear that
think,
from a lot of younger people. Like, I work really hard. I deserve this. It's like, well, then you deserve what goes along with a life full of debt too, which is insecurity, bad
bad
credit,
credit.
right? And maybe never owning anything yourself, whether it's land, a house, or even a vehicle.
Yeah. Yeah. So beyond the TV, what else beyond debt? What other things could somebody do if they wanted to to adopt more of a minimalistic life? What other things would you suggest?
Well, I guess during COVID, a lot of people started growing their own food. And even if in an apartment, you could have pots or different things like that. But I think bringing in your own food and putting it up yourself makes you realize, first of all, it's so rewarding to go out to the garden and just harvest for your meal that night. But
Yeah.
also, I don't know, there's a lot of satisfaction with growing your own food and being outdoors and in the sun and having your hands in the soil. So everything that you do like that builds on itself. And it's like, wow, if we can grow our own food, maybe we could learn to bake bread, or maybe we don't need to buy that. We can live without it. I mean, it just kind of changes
I
your
think I
mindset.
think it all depends on what your options are. Like we have property, we have woodland, we have place to grow food, we have an orchard, we have vineyard, we have a lot. And I like to fix things, so I fix everything. I feel like most people would start with one small item. Like even if
Mm.
they can't grow food, you can buy bulk food, you can buy dried beans and you can start cooking with, if you love to cook, that's one option you can do is cook food instead of going out to
Oh
eat
yeah.
every night.
From our,
And
we know
door dashing.
many people
Yeah.
go out to eat, and I mean we never go out to eat. We even get gift certificates to go to restaurants, and it's like, yeah, but we have all this good food in the freezer that we put up, and I love to cook, and it's one way to be creative. And it's hard for us to even use a restaurant gift card, because if we go there, if we had to spend the money and it's not as good as what I would cook, we feel really disappointed. So to go
For
to a
all the effort.
restaurant that makes a lot better food than me is ridiculously expensive. So, I mean, all my years as a travel writer, we have eaten at a lot of really good restaurants because
Right.
it was complimentary because I was writing about it. So we do know what good restaurants are like, but there's no way we would ever go out and pay for it because we have so much
Ridiculous.
at home. But that is a good point, that if you can't grow your own food and put it up yourself, you can cook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could cook.
Or like I like to fix things. So when, I don't know, the toaster breaks, I'm not going to throw it away and go buy a new toaster. I'm going to rip it apart and see if I can fix it because chances are I'll be able to fix it and then I'll feel really good.
That's right. That's right. Anything else you can think of? I mean, I think you guys do courses, right? Or you've had people come
Goats.
in,
We have
huh?
goats. We have
Oh,
goats.
goats.
We used to have llamas,
Yeah.
but
I take people on goat hikes for some extra money. If you get a group of your friends together, you come for free, and then they all pay $20 and we go for an hour hike and have a campfire and snacks. So I just decided to start to do that because I go out walking with my goats a couple times a week, and I thought, well, that's an easy way to make some money,
Oh, I'm
and
in.
everybody enjoys that. Get
I
some of your
would go.
friends together.
I will. I was just thinking I need to get together with a couple of my friends. So Alice and Robin, I'm going to be calling you for the goat hike. Just so you know. That sounds awesome.
It is
Sounds
fun. We
awesome.
just go right out the door and go for about 2.5 miles, something like that. All kinds of different terrain, forest on the edge of the wood, on the edge of the fields, and the goats stay right with you. I mean, you can pet them as you walk. They never run away, so it is fun.
That would be awesome. That would be awesome. What do you think is some of the common misconceptions about minimalism, about your lifestyle that people have to come up to you because they do say things without thinking? What are the things that you hear from people?
well, the other aspect is, I mean, I haven't worked a full-time job for someone else for, I don't
Since
know,
I was 21.
before the kids were even born, like 30 to 35 years. So when I would get up in the morning, I'd look at the weather and then I would decide what kind of work I'm going to do. And it isn't like I don't work. I work from
Hmm.
the time I get up, but I'm doing jobs that I want to do. And I'm doing them when the timing and the weather is right. So a lot of times I used to say, most people get up and they go to work, and then when the weekend comes, it's like that's when they get to play. And I used to wake up and I said, every day is like a Saturday to me. I get to decide what I'm going to do, and then I go and do it.
That's when you work for yourself too.
Yeah. Now
Mhm.
I'm doing work, but I'm doing work that I love to do. So
A lot of people think that this kind of lifestyle is painful, like it's hardship and we're giving up a lot. And we never feel that way at all. We feel like we have more gifts than they do in their lives. My sister or somebody might say, how about if we go do this? And it's like, I can't afford that. So I'll just say no, but I don't feel like I'm being deprived. It's like that's just not in our lifestyle. Most of our friends are on the same page as us or close to it. It's just maybe like family members that have a much higher income. And so their disposable income is much different than ours. And they might have a hard time sometime with the fact that we say, no, we can't do that. And they see that as a hardship, but we just see it as a choice. It's like, yeah, you can do that, but you've worked at a job for 40 years that you really hate in order to have that kind of income, whereas we've spent our whole lives doing the work that we love. So
And
it is,
traveling.
it's not hardship for us. Every now and then we do have to say no to something, but everything is a choice. And we just chose to make money a different way than other people. And it all goes hand in hand with our simple lifestyle.
Yeah.
We always thought that our freedom and our independence and our ability to be creative and live a creative life was more important than making a lot of money. And a lot of people don't choose that and give it up.
I don't think they know that there's a choice.
Probably.
Don't you
We used to
think?
give voluntary simplicity workshops. Well, I still do to some universities. Alvernia University in Reading was just here for a workshop. And we used to give a lot of workshops about that. And we used to sit with the students at the end of the day and they said, we've never even heard about people living like this. We had no
Mhm.
idea it was even possible. And it's like, yeah. So, yeah, they probably don't, or it's just not in their wheelhouse at all.
I would have hated to work at a job for 30 or 40 years of my life, waiting to retire like so many people do, and then falling off a ladder and breaking my neck and not having to live the life that I've lived. I mean, the last 4 years have been really hard. And
But you don't live with disappointment
no,
as
I don't
far as
live
how
it.
you lived up to that point,
No,
which I would think would be devastating.
yeah.
All of a sudden I've lost it and I kept putting it off, really living my life, and now I
And
can't.
no, really good point. And I wonder if you had had a different life, if your road to recovery would have been different. Whether
Right.
you,
It probably wouldn't have been possible because we wouldn't have had the wherewithal to know that, yeah, if you put your nose down and you work hard towards something, even if it doesn't seem that it's attainable or people tell you that it's not, that doesn't mean anything. So, yeah, we spent our whole lives doing that. So,
Yeah, building their house, people said, oh, you can't do that. You don't know what you're doing, or you can't hike 3,000 miles and go from Georgia to Maine,
or take little kids across the
or
Rockies on llamas with
it's like,
100
well, you
diapers,
can do it. You just do it one day at a time.
even though
one
no one's
diaper at a
done it
time.
before. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you're so impressive. And I do think that that's true. I think that you already knew what you could do.
The rehab doctor that we wanted to
Oh, yeah.
ride 2,000 miles across the country kind of looked at us like, I couldn't ride 2,000 miles. How are you going to ride
Well, he did
2,000?
say that. He said, I'm not going to tell you not to do it, but I don't think that you should. And I started laughing and I go, well, it doesn't matter what you say because we're going.
Yeah, I read that. That was in your last blog. I love that. I'm not going to tell you not to do it. Well, good thing.
I thought, I don't
Yeah,
know
you
if I'm
told
being
me
disrespectful, but
you
it's
told
like,
me that I'd never walk again, and I'm walking, so why should I listen to anything that you say?
yeah. Oh, and then when he said that, he goes, he's going to ask his colleagues what they think. And Todd said, because they've done this already. And they'll be good people to make that choice. They
Oh,
all haven't not only been a long distance cyclist, but they haven't done it being paralyzed and a quadriplegic too. So how can you even advise? It's like, don't even bother.
don't even bother. Oh my God, I wish I could have been there. It sounds like an amazing, it's just, you can't write that. You can't write that conversation.
Oh, I'm going to.
Well, yeah, I mean, but you couldn't make it up. You couldn't
Oh,
make it up to be
right,
to be
right.
that funny and ironic.
That doctor doesn't know that much about us too, so
Yeah. Oh, no,
he doesn't,
no. I
he
think I
doesn't
don't,
he doesn't know our history, so and he's really young.
right.
Oh yeah, he's a nice guy and he's a good doctor, but he doesn't have the life experience to know that there are some people that have pursued big, hard goals their whole lives and they've got more in their backpack to know what they can do and they can't do.
That's right.
A
That's right.
reference point. If you haven't lived long enough, you don't have a lot of reference points.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And you're defying them. I mean, they all live by odds and percentages, and there's outliers in all of those tables of percentages and statistics. So you're an outlier.
The one thing I remember when Todd first got hurt, and the one doctor said to him that if 51% of all the people with spinal cord injuries, high level ones, never walk again, but 48% do, which isn't true. But if that were the percentages, we have to say to you that you probably won't walk again. It's
Right.
like, wow, that's just killing the dream right there.
Yeah, that's unhelpful.
Yeah,
Exactly.
we were pretty
Well,
surprised about that comment.
you proved them wrong, and you're going to write about it.
Yeah. I have two
So
chapters done already.
that's awesome. I can't wait to read it. So what should I have asked? What do you want to still tell listeners about minimalism, about your recovery? Because you're so wise from all that you've done.
Well, I think if you want to change your lifestyle and have more joy and more time and more peace, that more isn't always the answer, that less is, because everybody has too busy of a life and there's too many things and there's too many jobs and there's too many. So to try to simplify your life gives you more time to have more joy and more peace. And that's one of the best parts of having a simpler life is you have more time and you can appreciate things more in your life because you're not as busy. And to live in gratitude, that's one of the things that we've had to learn is whatever was taken away or what I don't have, if I only had a different job or if I only had more money, then I would be happy. It's like, no, this is what we have right now. This is what we have left. This is what we have to be grateful for and find how to be okay with what is here now. So that's what this whole spinal cord injury is teaching us, don't you think, husband? What's it
I
teaching
guess
you?
it hasn't taught me yet totally. I haven't
He's
figured it
learning.
out yet.
It's problems with the gratitude part.
Ah, it's all always a challenge, I think. You
He
know,
he he looks at it as I'm supposed to be grateful that I'm paralyzed. It's like, no, you're supposed to be grateful because you have a grandson that adores you, and we have this wonderful place to live, and you have someone that will take care of you, and all the things that you do have instead of what you don't have.
I was out mowing. It's
Because he can mow
one of
and
the
his
I
few
think
zero.
things
that's
I
impressive. I
do.
was so impressed by that.
So happy to be able to accomplish a big job on my own, but I'm out mowing my pasture, which is high grass, and I'm doing like 7 loops around, and then I look over and here's this baby fawn in the field that was just birthed, and it's like,
Oh,
so I stopped mowing and left it lay there, and it's just kind of nice to have that right here in your backyard.
right. That's right.
Gratitude. Is that the point you're making?
Yeah.
It is always good to talk to you. I am always inspired and I always laugh. So this is good. These are good things. No, I learned a lot today and I'm gonna work on applying some of it. Well, thanks so much for being with me again and for writing and inspiring me, Todd, with all that you do.
Thanks, dear.
Thank you.
Finding time for us too.
Oh, it's awesome. That's all for today. If you want to learn more about Cindy and Todd, those links will be in the show notes. Thank you so much for listening. I hope this episode was helpful. If it was, please subscribe, drop a review, or share it with your friends and family. That's the best way to get it in the hands of those who may benefit. And if my daughters Sienna and Sylvia are listening, I just want you to know how proud I am of you. And I love you so, so much. Bye now.